10 years ago, Jurassic World brought the Jurassic Park franchise back from extinction. Since then, 2 sequels have come out, with more underway. But for many, the first Jurassic World holds a special time and place, bringing to life the excitement of what a functioning dinosaur park could have been like. Not long ago, I spoke with several people who were extras in the blockbuster film. They told engaging stories about being among Jurassic World's incredible sets in New Orleans. Now, for the film's 10th anniversary, we are going to Hawaii to hear stories from those extras for the first time. But before we get there, let's revisit New Orleans and converse with a new batch of extras. Mariah Lambis, Chris Topher, and Rob Miranda. Brent Capel also returns as they all reveal fun new memories. Join us now for this special look back on the Jurassic World Extras experience.
I worked a total of 12 different days. My brother and I, we stayed in a little motel like 20 minutes down the road because at the time we were living in Hattiesburg. It's the college town for southern Mississippi. And so rather than driving an hour and a half back and forth, we were both scheduled to work 6 days in a row. So we just got a little hotel and would just wake up and drive and go. But then for some reason, I got an email back saying, hey, we need some other people for the Innovation Center. And you can technically see me for like that. I'm right behind Chris Pratt in that, like he's walking by and just for a second, it's like me, then I'm going. And then, but I did that for 2 different days. So I was like, well, okay, you can kind of see me there. And you could kind of see me in the 6 days because the 6 days was all Main Street stuff, which I was very excited because I thought I would be getting a big moment because they pulled maybe like 5 or 6 people from the big crowd. And I was one of them to be in Margaritaville, like sitting around the bar while Jimmy Buffett was like our bartender and was serving us drinks. And that like they did so many takes of that shot, like over and over. I'm like, this is so cool. I'm going to be in a scene with Jimmy Buffett in the movie. So whenever the movie came and I'm like, oh, it's not there. That's fine. That's cool. But I think there's like a time I'll have to rewatch and see. I think you can kind of see there's like a 1-second clip of that in like the behind the scenes. And so I was like, oh, there it is. At least it made it somewhere. But then the big one was on the second day of the Innovation Center. They were going around saying, hey, are you free this day? It was sometime like that following week. And they were like, hey, are you free? And so they were just asking it like every other person or so. And so I was like, yeah, okay. They're like, okay, come, wear different clothes and be here at this time or whatever. And wear clothes that you're not afraid to like get ruined by water. And so we're like, okay, so some sort of, water, like, will it be raining? Like we had no idea. I didn't know about the Mosasaurus show at all until we get there and they're setting us up in the bleachers. And first they did several takes of just, okay, sit like this, do yay, cheer, yay. Now everybody shift places, like everybody move where you are. And they took several takes of that because they said they were going to use all those different ones to just be the massive crowd. Like we were one little square, but they were just going to duplicate each of those. And that's going to be the massive crowd. So I was like, oh, okay. And then they're like, okay, after lunch, we're going to start shooting like the actual scene. So we went, had lunch, came back, and they were arranging everybody. And there were 2 empty seats that they were like saved. And then we saw it was the 2 stand-ins for the boys and they were sitting there. So we're like, okay, so this is a scene with the boys. Okay. Because we had seen them kind of running around during the Main Street days. So I was at this point super far away because they like just had us file in. And so I was super far away. And then one of the assistants called over because I was wearing this like coral peachy color. And they were like, "Ooh, that color, come sit over here," and put me smack dab behind the boys. And I was just like, okay, like don't freak out, but this is really cool. And so that was really, and I had a prop cell phone that just had like a little code on it. So it was, if the screen was showed, they would put, the dinosaur. Got splashed several times. And then they cleared everybody out from behind me and back to do an over the shoulder shot. So if you watch the movie and you see the lady's shoulder who's holding the blue phone, that's my shoulder. But so that was super, super fun. And I got to meet Colin on that day. And then I had this little girl sitting next to me, and he thought we were sisters. So he was like, "You and your sister come and have pizza." And so I was like, "Okay, she's not my sister, but that's fine." Like she's my sister now, I guess. So I don't even remember her name. I feel so bad. It's so long. But apparently Colin remembered that. So because the letter that I got from him talked about that day whenever I went through. And I feel like I'm talking a whole lot. So feel free to like wave me down and
No,
stop
you're
me
getting
because
the ball rolling. Yeah, tell us since you brought that topic up, like tell us about the process of getting the letter and everything behind it.
yeah. So uh the 6 days that I was on the Main Street set, I was actually wearing a wig because my hair hadn't fully come back yet because that previous year I had battled lymphoma. So I did chemotherapy. And so my hair was like just coming back. And it came back enough that I was starting to feel confident and just like with the not wearing wigs for the Mosasaurus days. It was actually pretty much like this length too. Um, so it's easy to see me. Um, but so I got diagnosed with lymphoma again after we filmed. So one day on Twitter, I got a direct notification from Kelsey Hamill, Mark Hamill's daughter. And I guess it was because I followed her and somebody from the Jurassic World team, like they knew each other. So, like, through the grapevine. And anyway, so I'm like reading this message, and I 100% thought that it was like a hoax direct message at first. Cause I'm like, did somebody hack Chelsea Hamill? Why is she sending me this message? But then, like, reading the contents, it was like, "Hey, so and so from Jurassic World wants to reach out to you and get in contact with you because they heard about your lymphoma battle." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay." So I reached out to him, and then I didn't really hear anything for a long time. And then maybe a month and a half after I got that message on Twitter, just this massive package shows up at my door. And it was about 5 Jurassic World posters that were autographed by Colin. This like really nice framed picture of me, like a still of me from the movie. Just for holding my phone, like smiling all goofy at the dinosaur, and then a letter basically saying, "Hey, I remember the day that we did the filming. We had pizza, for the Mosasaurus shoot and all this stuff, and just wanted to say, that we're rooting for you, and feel free to reach out to me on Twitter to tell me about your battle." And then he went to my GoFundMe and donated $500 on there. Um, so that was super, super awesome of him. And then like the Jurassic World Facebook like shared the little post that I made because I was freaking out. I wasn't expecting that at all. And so that it kind of just like blew up from there. So that was really, really cool that he had done that. And I kind of stayed in touch with Colin on Twitter for a little while I was going through those different because I had to do chemo again, and then I ended it with a bone marrow transplant. And so after the transplant, he had like commented on one of my tweets saying, like, "So happy that you're cancer free now," and all this stuff. But the reason why my hair is short again is actually it was a year ago now. I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. So like I have horrible luck, but I'm good now. I had my big surgery and did the chemos, and my hair's coming back. And
Okay.
yeah, so it's wild that my hair is exactly how it was for those Jurassic World shoots because I had refused to cut it after it grew back, so it was like pretty much down to like the middle of my butt pretty much. So but before it all fell out, I secured it at the very top, buzzed it, and donated it all. So I was glad I was able to do that too. So still have my Jurassic World shrine in my living room, or it's actually my kids' playroom now, so they get to see that. And that's where I have the framed park map that somehow accidentally found its way home. I don't know how that happened.
You weren't the only one. I wasn't one, but I know people. I know
Yeah.
people.
Oops. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're doing well now, and it's been a journey. Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, I did the filming after my first fight, then had the second fight with the lymphoma, and that's when Colin sent all that stuff, and then the breast cancer fight. It's been wild. So hopefully no more. I mean, I'm a 3-time cancer champ now, so I'm like, enough's enough, right?
Right, right. Like, what are they trying? What's fate trying to
I'm
do?
done, man. I was actually working at a movie theater during filming. So whenever the movie did come out, all my movie theater friends like brought me and my brother in to see a special viewing of the movie since we were both in it. So that was really fun. And then whenever Guardians of the Galaxy came out, my brother and I went to go see it. And we were like, "Hey, it's our coworker Chris." And so we're all about
That's great.
coworker jokes because his favorite story is during the Main Street filming while Chris Pratt was on the ground wrestling with
Marty
a
Kleba.
dimorphodon or what
Yeah, Marty Kleba in a mocap suit. Yeah.
exactly it. My brother got like kind of pushed in the crowd and he jumped over Chris's legs. And that's like his victory. So he's like, I had to jump over Chris's. So he's like, my coworker Chris, I had to jump over his legs. And I remember when the first trailer came out, one of the scenes of like everybody turning a quarter and running, you can see my brother like clear as day. And he was just so jazzed. He was so excited. And then like one of the next teasers, you see like the Mosasaurus scene, and I'm on there, and he was just like everybody's sharing it on Facebook. You know, everybody from high school and college, and all of my family. It was almost just like felt like a mini celebrity for a little bit. I was like, I'm in a movie, so
The reason I was not in the Mosasaurus scene with you is because I am a featured extra in Fantastic Four. So, like, my first day on Fantastic Four was just a boardroom scene. And then they decided they wanted 3 of us to kind of follow Tim Blake Nelson as like his little henchmen, his little boardroom guys. So every day he had a scene, we got called back. So that's why I missed Zara getting snatched up. I missed that day because of Fantastic Four and the Mosasaurus scene. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I can't tell my students I'm really in Jurassic World because you can't see me, but I tell them I'm in Fantastic Four every year, and they're like, "What? Like the what?"
Michael B.
No, it is
Jordan was in that
Four
movie.
Stick though. You got to say it right.
It was Fant Four Stick. It was Fant Four Stick.
Four Stick.
And I think, I keep telling my friends, I'm like, Marvel better get their shit together and cast board member number 3 in this new movie, or else it's gonna tank too. Because like, you gotta have continuity. What you saying about Ebb Tide? If you know
Ebb Tide. That's right.
Oh, look, he's got the ebb tide right there. Look at that.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from, Rob?
I got this from somebody who worked on the film, which is the same way that I got this.
Oh wow.
Stop.
So this is a painted version of the insert head for the Raptors in the movie, where they I guess Barry was checking in on Blue or I guess it was Blue. I'm not sure if it was Blue or not in that scene, but yeah, he worked for the 3D company that printed those heads, and he had it up in his. I was on Facebook Marketplace. I kind of, because of my collection, I'm constantly looking all the time, and I saw Facebook Marketplace. I recognized that head. I was like, I gotta have that. So I was talking to him, and he's like, yeah, it was on my workshop wall. I worked on the movie for a little while, and this was the gift that they gave everybody. And I'm not doing anything with it, so I was like, I'll pay whatever you need to ship it out to me. So
That's so cool.
Yeah,
That's
so he gave me that.
cool.
He gave me his parking pass. There's another. He has like a photography allowed tag as well, but it has his name on it, so I'm not going to show it. But
Yeah.
My parking
It's
pass is less exciting, Rob, but I have the paper one that they gave us.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have that one too, but this one was a little bit. This is
Little
actually like
cooler.
classic. It's
Yeah.
it's not a.
That's so cool. Yeah, we had it for the Main Street days. Whenever the first day we pulled up, they just slapped it in our car and they were like, just make sure it's here for any of your other days. And so um at the end of filming, yeah.
Rob, do you do this 3D printing as a hobby or is that part of a business for you?
It's like an in between
Side
of both.
hustle? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a side hustle because I enjoy doing it for my own collection because the reason why I started doing it was because for a long time there were no Jurassic Park statues like this. So then when they started making them, they were just like the T-Rex, the T-Rex, the T-Rex over and over and over again in different things. And I was like, all right, well, they didn't do baby raptors, they didn't do the Stygimoloch, and then eventually they start doing all these things. So a lot of the things that I started doing were kind of retreats, but um, people started seeing my work online, and they were, are you going to make any of these to sell? So then I started to do that a little bit, and I don't do it too often because it's time consuming, but I have a lot of fun with it when I do get to do it. And like I have a raptor that I'm working on for the Lost World currently.
Cool. Is that hidden back there in the corner?
So it's a full size.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
but so it has like resin eyes, and like they kind of follow you when you move around, and like it's gonna be a nice big wall project for me. A couple of local museums have a couple of my things on display too, so it's just fun. It's fun to have.
Brent and Rob, were you there the very first day when we were all on Main Street and just had to sit outside the center on those steps at the end of
In
the
the
day?
sun. Oh.
Yeah.
Yep, they did the helicopter flyover at the end.
The
Yeah.
helicopter shots. Those were
And
fun.
that was maybe the most miserable day of shooting I've ever had. And I did I did 3 movies that summer. I did Terminator Genesis, I did Jurassic, and then I did Fantastic. Because I'm a teacher as well.
Wow.
And I ran into some of my students and coworkers on the Main Street set. And I was hanging around with them. And when I was like trying to find myself in there, so like Zara's coming down the steps and the doors open. And I remember trying to just walk past that door casually to see if there was a set in there. Of course there wasn't, but so I don't know, like I think I'm just behind the planter trying to get shade from the scenes they used, because it's the same thing when Chris Pratt is being attacked by the Tyrannodon. Is it Tyrannosaur or Pteranodon that he's
The
being
Morphodon.
It's Morphodon?
Yeah, it
Morphodon.
was the one with the big teeth. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it's Morphin time.
That's
So
right. That's
I
right.
was literally against the wall of Dave and Buster's, just trying to get as much shade as possible, just wishing it would all end. Because like y'all were in your 20s, I was in my 30s when I did that, and I was like, why am I? I was like, this is so hot, so miserable. I was so glad when we got to move into the Innovation Center, and then we went to Mishu, and all the stuff I shot in Mishu was like in that hangar, so it was open, but it was still like less hot. It was less miserable, you know.
But yeah, tell us more about the hangar, because that's the one set that we didn't talk about last time, because I don't think anyone had filmed it apart from Chris and Maria. So yeah, what was that whole thing like? Was there anything extra in there that wasn't in the film? Like what went on in there?
No, they. So I remember the who's the guy that works with Owen?
Barry?
Yeah, I know they clapped for him because that must have been a wrap for him that day. I was like, I've never seen this guy before. Okay, like learning something new about the movie now. And then I remember I got super excited when I saw the parents were Judy Greer and the guy from The Office. He was Michael Scott's boss.
Yeah, I was excited to see Judy Greer though, because I was
Yes,
like,
and I kept trying to move cots closer. They put me on like a triage shot way in the back, and I kept trying to every take I kept trying to get a cot closer, and no, all the good cots were taken by the kids.
yeah.
But
I took a nap that day on a cot
I did
because
too. I did too. Yes.
well, For me, I don't know how it was for you, Chris, but for me, the call time was 4 a.m. And so I didn't film for maybe like 2 or 3 days before that. So I was up in Hattiesburg. So in order to leave Hattiesburg to get there on time for a 4 a.m. call, I had to leave Hattiesburg maybe like 1:30. And I believe I even had to work the day before. And so I was just dead tired. And then after like checking everything in, like handing in, stuff, getting all the props, and like a few people had like bandages or whatever. And I always had to go through makeup because I have 3 tattoos. I have two on the top of my feet and one on my back shoulder. So even if like in that day they wanted me to wear what I wore on Main Street, so my tattoo was exposed on my shoulder, so I had to get that covered up. But anyway, so by the time that's all said and done, we walk into the hangar and I'm like, it's a 4 a.m. call time and they gave us beds to sit on. Like, this is cruel. And so we're filming. And then there was like a big, I think they had to move one of the big cameras to like the other side of the hangar. So they were like, it's gonna be a while, so just hang out. And so I just fell asleep on the cot. And whenever I woke up, it was because my cot was bumped by Chris Pratt and he was right there. And I was like, oh, so I'm on camera. But I guess that particular angle wasn't in it because I am like nowhere near him. I cannot find myself at all in that hangar shot. I've tried so many times, but
So I rewatched it last night. It's so funny. Chris Pratt, he's always like talking to some extra earnestly. And I'm just like, what is this character doing possibly to help at all? Like he trains animals. Like what comfort can he be getting? He's just like very earnestly talking to them. Same thing in the Innovation Center when
yeah,
Claire comes up.
yeah.
She's like, Owen, I was supposed to be watching my nephews, but Jurassic Park happened. But
Right.
yeah, because so they cut right from him to like them in that 2 shot, the silhouette. And so they don't, you just
Yeah.
see the main hangar when it's like a pullback. And obviously I'm behind the camera. I'm napping.
You were part of the scene where Owen says, "We have to stick around for survival," you know?
For survival. Oh yeah.
Were you
Uh
guys there whenever when he walked up and the kids asked like, "Who's that?" and he would go, "Your new Uncle Owen." I thought that was hilarious, and obviously it wasn't in the movie. And they're like, "Who's that?" And Claire turns around and kind of looks at him. A couple of the takes, he's like, "Your new uncle," and it turns out, he is. If
Yeah,
I didn't.
technically.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, all I remember, I was next to two teenage girls, and I say it's so funny for me to say teenage because at the time I was in my early 20s, but they had to have been like maybe 16, 17. I'm not sure like what the age limit was, but they were like, teenagers. And so whenever Chris was there, all they were just nonstop talking about his butt like so loud, and I could feel my face getting redder and redder, and I just kept scooting away from them because I'm like, if he overhears, I don't want him to think I'm in this because I'm not like that weird. And I was married at the time too, so I'm like, yes, you're a good looking guy and sure you're very toned, but like I'm not in this. And
but you're my coworker. I'm keeping it professional. You're my
right,
coworker, Chris. I'm
exactly.
not gonna...
If they wanted to see Chris Pratt's butt, all they had to do was watch Parks and Recreation. So there you go.
Well, that's Andy Dwyer, Chris Pratt. That's not prime. That's not prime Pratt butt. No, you gotta like
Prime
that's
Pratt butt. That's a meme right there,
look,
or hashtag or something. I don't know what.
hashtag
Or
prime Pratt butt.
Did any of you guys get a chance to talk to Chris?
I did. The first day I saw him was that day he wrestled Marty Kleba in the mocap suit in that alley where the Dave and Buster's and the IMAX is, and Claire gets up and headbutts it. So as he comes out, I scream, Burt Macklin! And he gives me one of these. And so that was the day they gave us snowballs. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was nice.
For people who are not from the South, we don't call them snow cones or Italian ice. Hilarious because I'm a teacher and I'm like, oh, they're giving these kids blueberry spearmint. Interesting. Let's see how that works out. Sure enough, about an hour later, they're collecting all the snowballs from the kids because their mouths are red and green and blue.
Blue,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Wonder if you can pick that out in the movie at all.
right. So they they had, the reason I ask is because I know I was back another day on Main Street and they had replaced all the flavors with clear, which is just terrible. Their
Ah,
clear is awful.
yeah.
So it's like pina colada and clear strawberry and but so I was hanging out and I kind of weaseled myself into a conversation with Chris Pratt. He was talking about some movie he was shooting previously and they told them not to feed the monkeys because they would attack them, and he was like, oh, whatever. And he fed them and they started like rummaging through the prop back sack and stuff, and they wanted us to run, for some reason they wanted us to run from inside the Dave and Buster's out into Main Street.
I think all that is the security camera footage you see on the monitors. I was in the IMAX.
Because I did not have a mind for being on camera at all, as is evident because I'm not on camera. I just ran from outside into the shade of the building, and that's where I stay. I just did that all day. And he had a little AC tent back there. And so while we were back there, that's when, I was like, oh, must be nice, buddy. And he's like, oh, man, I wish I could let you back here. But, it's like so many rules. I was like, look, I got a snowball. I'm good. Also, Bryce Dallas Howard was like just on a MacBook under an awning, one of those umbrella tables, just like answering emails between takes. I so wish I'd broken the rules and kept my cell phone. I was very afraid of getting my phone confiscated, and I did not abscond with any maps or bracelets. But I kind of wish I did because those are great little souvenirs. But luckily, they gave us the bracelets anyway. But
there were days that it rained, obviously, and those days that it rained and we were on Main Street, everybody, the security got lax at that point in time. So if you were walking the parking lot on those days, that's where the park maps and the scan bins, the cups, they were all in the parking lot, and there was no one tracking that stuff. So a few of us, we kind of gathered as much as we could from there.
Yeah.
And that's how I brought my stuff home.
I love that you mentioned the cup, because when I was rewatching, trying to find myself and never did, when they start attacking from the sky, there's one dude who has just got a death grip on that prop cup. And he was someone like me who just took it to heart. Like, do not lose these props. We will catalog these props at the end of the day. You will be I forgot what the wordage was, what the verbiage was that they said, but I was like, oh shit, like, okay, I don't want any props. I'm like, no, don't give me a map. I'm like, no, I don't want it. I'm like, because some people had prop cell phones, the prop cups, the shirts, but so that was, I just thought that was funny. He's like running for his life with a death grip on this
I can't lose
paper
it.
cup. I did have one other conversation with Pratt when we were in the Innovation Center. He's behind me as he walks up to Claire when she's asking for help finding her nephews. And I overhear him talking about, yeah, I've been here for like a couple months. I was like, oh, did you have crawfish yet? And he's like, no. And I was like, what? And like, and he got like, oh, was I supposed to? I'm like, man, you missed the season. Like, if you eat crawfish now, they're going to be frozen. Like, you got to come back. I'm like, you got to come back. He's like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. We reshot the take, and I was like, hey, man, I realized I just yelled at you for not eating something. I apologize for that. And he's like, no worries, no worries. So that was the sum total of my interactions with Prime Pratt Butt.
There you
Yeah, he was always so kind. Like I have made friends with a couple of guys on the set, and we were all sitting during a break time, and he was just walking down the street talking to everybody, and he came over to us, and we were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy with him before it came out, and how he was so excited for everybody to see that movie and all that stuff. And obviously they tell you you're not supposed to talk to talent, so but we didn't care because like for me, I had already been shooting for 6 days or whatever it was at that time. And going back to Chris, so he sat down with us and we were just shooting the shit, and we had like a notebook in one of our backpacks, and so he signed autographs for everybody. So this was says, Rob, good meeting you. God bless Chris Pratt. So it's
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a cool, my favorite souvenir.
To circle back around to like that very first day, as great as that crew is, I do not think they were prepared for that heat on that concrete pad all day. I got yelled at by a prop guy because one of my students was there with his little brother, and his little brother was like, "Oh, it's so hot, so hot." So me just being like not in movie mode, I went to the kiosk that where at the end the the Indominus is destroying them. I just took one of those squirt bottle fans and handed it to him, and then out of nowhere, this guy just comes from the crowd. Hey! What are you doing? What are you doing? He like snatches it from the kid. I'm like, man, look at this kid. He's about to pass out. Like, do you have water or something? He's like, well, we were up here to 2 a.m. dressing this. This is a hero set. Do not touch the props. And then the next scene, I was inside the souvenir store and I never came out for the rest of the day.
They figured it out for the next day because they kept, the first day they didn't, but the next days they were hosing down, at least like they were super hosing down like the concrete and everything, like
Yes.
bringing the temperature down, and really a lot better about passing out water and things like that.
Yeah.
And when you guys are saying first day, was it that Friday? Because then we had the weekend for them to kind of prepare, and then they came back on Monday with kind of everything a little bit more, ready to cool us down. I remember being in line on that Friday, and they were actually going through like asking the extras, like, what can we do to help, alleviate some of this, which I really appreciated. That was very
And
cool.
the very end of the day, they came out with those little like soft drink coolers on wheels with water bottles in them, and they were like throwing them to people. I remember that. Yeah. But that like the way they treated the extras, like there's a couple, at least one day I know where the producers and some other people came and ate with us. That might have been the day they gave us the bracelets.
That was the last day.
Yeah.
They had lunch with us at the end.
They would tell us like, "Oh, this is the most extras we've had for a Spielberg movie." Am I remembering that right? 600 something. And then they'd give us accounts. Yeah. Oh my God, they fed us so well too. Like,
yeah, the food was fantastic.
They did. Oh my gosh, they did.
I wish that they would have recorded those speeches they gave us. I know it's like not anything anybody outside of us would have cared to have seen, but like, those every morning, and then when Chris and Bryce came in and like kind of talked that one day, it was awesome.
Hey everybody, my name is Colin. I'm the director of this movie. I just want to let you know you are really running from dinosaurs right now. This is actually happening. So if you were ever really afraid of anything, this is real. Believe it. You're not acting. Find that fear.
In the next segment, the New Orleans extras continue their discussion about the Main Street set, attractions inspired by the film, and some surprising new stories.